automation on some level takes information away from you. That can be a very good thing, that can also be a very bad thing, and that's really what I try to break down there.
You have to pick what's good to automate.
The point of automation, the point of delegation, the point of all of this is to free up valuable time. Killing stuff, it really does require an external perspective. If there's no time to answer that, there's probably something to be automated.
I was thinking about probably 3 things that you need to ask yourself to make sure X task should be automated. So first of all,
hi, and welcome to another episode of Special Ops Podcast. Today, we have a special episode for you because Richard and Tiago from Shockwave's team are actually going to do the podcast for you today. They're going to be talking about what to automate, what to delegate, and what to kill. I'm going to sit this one out because all I do is throw chaos at them anyway. So they're going to tell you how to simplify all of that. So join them. Here you go.
Right. So Richard, so happy to be here with you.
Definitely.
An amazing experience to meet you and to meet Emma here in San Diego. So I was remembering the first time I met you. I think it was not the first time, but when I was being interviewed by Emma to join Shockwave, it was almost a year and a half ago. And I was talking through what I knew, what I had been doing for another company. And she just paused and she said, I need to have Richard here. Yeah. And I need to bring Richard to ask you some questions. Do you remember that time?
I don't remember it as well as you did. I apologize.
Good.
I've ruined your intro there.
I really recalled, no worries. I recalled that you came onto the interview to ask me about what I knew about automations. We're talking about, again, a year and a half away. And now it's been more than a year working together, working closely together, and which I love, and I learn a lot from you. And one of the things I really value about you is your criteria on what to automate and what not to automate, what to keep manual mostly. So I wanted to ask you about, again, how does that work for you on your head? What's your criteria?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think the fundamental thing is automation on some level takes information away from you, which that can be a very good thing, that can also be a very bad thing, and that's really what I try to break down there. So there are a lot of daily reports that I could completely automate, for instance, like the number of sales for a workshop that we've got coming up. We have this big sheet for one of our clients, the one that we work most closely together on, which is basically how many people have signed up for this upcoming workshop. I go in there manually every day. I update the spend. I update the number of people who've come in. But if I automated that, that would take away the ability to say, okay, are we doing well for this consultation? Are we having a reasonable number of signups? Are these new ads that we've launched actually working? Or is there some kind of issue that we need to look into? The automation there would just completely kill that. It would add a step between the information and our understanding of it. I think that's the sort of core criteria for me there. Whereas something that's a lot more automatable is, for instance, email deliverability rates. So that's something that doesn't change super quickly unless you're doing something really bad. That's something that can be automated and occasionally checked into because the proximity of the information is less important than it is for the number of consultation signups. Okay. That's definitely my kind of criteria there.
There are risks associated with automating. I hadn't thought about that specifically or explicitly, which is, hey, you're going to forget about it. So that's part of the good part, and it could be, as you said, a negative part, a risk. You're not going to look into that as often, sure. And I think it happens with both automations and it happened with AI. And I know I'll have you on my side, where someone goes like, oh, I can automate this, I can automate that, I can automate the other thing.
You can certainly do it.
Same with AI.
Yeah.
Like, oh, AI could do this. You have to pick what's good to automate.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Because if you don't have that kind of hands-on view, stuff gets away from you. It's just the nature of the thing. I think there's some level of truth in that with regards to delegation, but we'll get into that in a second.
So I was thinking about automating, and I was thinking about probably 3 things that you need to ask yourself to make sure an X task should be automated. First of all, it's very simple. It needs to be done. So it's not something that we could do. It needs to be done because automated is going to just do it. It needs to be done right, in a specific standardized way. It has to be done in a timely manner because automation will always beat a human at being timely. And I think this goes back to the criterion on whether you should also allocate time to set up the automation. It has to be a task that has to be done frequently because if it's just you have 2 employees and you have payroll once a month, twice a month, there's probably something better that you could automate that would relieve you of a lot of workload.
Yeah, I mean, understanding where the time's being spent is, I think, something that you've done fantastically well, again, for this client who we won't name, but like just understanding where their staff has been spending their time, because a tremendous amount of it was automatable in a productive way that drags everything forward rather than adding any roadblocks there.
Yeah. And I think that automation is really connected to delegation, which you just hinted we're going this way. Because when you think about the organizational chart and the hierarchy there, when you think about, and I'm calling it lower level team members, but not because it's low what they do, they're vital. It's about like just the vertical hierarchy, right? So lower level are the ones that can get the most relief out of automations immediately, because it's probably who's being assigned the task to manually copy and paste things from one side to the other, Hey, or even worse than copy and pasting, I think it's, hey, you should remember 3 times a day to go into this CRM and check if we have new subscriptions, and then copy and paste information into this checklist.
Yeah.
Now, the moment we automate that for them, and that goes immediately into the checklist, it's more reliable and everything, and they get an automatic notification via Slack that they see and that everyone can see, so it's now like public. We are giving them more time to focus on tasks that really need a human input. They cannot be delegated to machines. So I think, first of all, delegate to the machine. And after that, when we say, okay, we delegated a lot to the machines, and now we think about, again, production team members are being relieved of tasks, you as a manager in your experience, what's your criteria, again, to decide, okay, what can we now delegate from managers into production?
Yo, we interrupt this pod to tell you to like and subscribe. What are you doing? Why haven't you liked? Why haven't you subscribed? Just subscribe. What's the problem? In all seriousness, subscribe so that you get notifications every time we drop new content. Additionally, if you have not signed up for our Visionary Vault, what the hell? www.specialopspodcast.com. Go sign up. It's free. We never try and sell you, and we're putting all kinds of stuff in there to help you with the operations of your business because we're passionate about it and we want to share operational excellence with our direct response e-commerce and online selling family.
Sure. So I think one of the core things there is the level of connection to the customer. Like, in general terms, if you are, again, on that hierarchical level higher up, it's probably not going to be a great use of your time talking to customers, even if they are relatively high ticket. So just as an example, so that's something that can be delegated with a structure for actually escalating the stuff that does need to come to someone higher up the totem pole. Really, it's a case of understanding what can be safely freed up. Like, again, as you said, the point of automation, the point of delegation, the point of all of this is to free up valuable time and push that to places where it can be more efficiently used, like people who are lower down, who are able to run through those little tasks, or not necessarily less important tasks, but less cognitive tasks, I think is possibly a good way to put it. Like stuff that takes less active thought, or it needs to be done in a way that's nowhere near automatic, but not necessarily needing a huge amount of thought, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm trying to put myself back in our day-to-day, right? And again, usually a founder who's handling a lot of tasks and we're trying to get him or her to delegate. You're looking at what to delegate. So what are the things that don't demand your unique, special experience and your forte, let's say? What are the things that you could train someone on? And you allocate a bit of your time into building like the training for that. And then you add a bit of like monitoring cadence to make sure that's been delegated properly.
Sure. I think, again, not to keep using the same client as an example for everything, but I think it's a very good example. The owner originally handling basically everything around checking people in for this product that they have. They were handling the actual mechanical side of signing people in for that, getting them registered, sending out notifications like, hey, this stuff, the information that you've given us doesn't quite match our requirements, so we're going to need you to redo this. It was taking, as you know, extremely well, a tremendous amount of their time. You have automated a huge part of that. You've delegated the pieces that can't be immediately automated, and the owner now has a lot more thinking free time. I think that really is the criteria. Like, is this something that really has to be done? What's gained by you, the owner, or you, the higher up person, doing it? If it's nothing, then it's almost certainly delegatable. If it's, hey, there's a slight edge, it's a little better when I do it versus when someone else does it, is that a trainable edge, or is that just a question of figuring out how to approach the task? Because I think from your conversations, a lot of that has been now completely passed off in a way that they say it's better. I'm not intimately connected enough to say Is it running better? It's certainly running as well, and it's certainly freeing up that time.
You have to look as a manager or a founder before delegating all the tasks you're doing right now. If we want to think about kill, then that's a good point to ask yourself, before delegating, should we in general be allocating time in general from the company? Could that be killed? But to delegate, make the sort of accountability chart that a visionary founder who's not yet very organized needs to do, which is like, it won't make sense. Once you write it down, it's like, okay, I'm doing fulfillment, I'm doing CS, I'm doing finance, I'm doing payroll, I'm doing marketing as well. So list everything you have, look at your team and look at the empty spaces, who you could hire, and then start from the simplest task and probably do a little math where it's like, okay, this task is simple, and how many times a week, a day, I need to work on this as a founder or a manager, right? So multiply that and you can start prioritizing, which you should be delegating first. And I think you could also combine that with context. Hey, I'm doing things in 5 departments. Maybe I can focus on just delegating for 2 departments, building up customer support and building up, let's say, marketing, for example. And then I'm also going to relieve myself from that context switching. So 2 different ways. Just try to relieve yourself from specific context and delegate that, or try to go about, okay, tasks that are fast, simple, but are done multiple times every day, week. And then you can select those to delegate. Nice. So any final note regarding automation, delegation, and killing tasks?
I think killing, just to have a quick note there, interesting thing there is how easy it is to build up these traditions that don't really need to be followed at all. Like, okay, why am I doing this? Well, I've always done it. Why are we doing this as a company? Well, we've always done it. It made sense 2 years ago. It made sense 3 years ago. I think killing stuff, it really does require, in some cases, an external perspective or that thinking time. I mean, a lot of the time, again, going back to the exact same client, there are a lot of things now that the owner has this additional time. They've been able to say, okay, well, why were we doing this? From the beginning, this doesn't make sense for our actions. I mean, because if there's no time to answer that, there's probably something to be automated, probably something to be delegated, and then you can figure out where the rest of the time goes.
And as you said, it has to do with perspective as well. Either if it's like an outside party, if it's a new employee, probably it's a new hire, if it comes fresh, or a consultant, of course, you're going to pick Shockwave. And if you got that perspective change from our perspective, or if you can get more time for you, you'll also get the ability to change the perspective because you have time to think at a different pace and quality and analyze. And then the question, as you said, that's going to come up is going to be, why do this? Okay, Richard, thank you very much. It was a huge pleasure.
Oh, it's been a fantastic little show.
I really hope you liked today's episode as much as I liked watching it from the sidelines. These guys are brilliant, and I hope you understand why I talk so highly of them on the podcast all the time. We've created for you Shockwave's custom GPT that will help you decide. Do you automate, do you delegate, or do you kill?